Okay, hello everybody. Let's get started on this week's weekly town hall meeting, January 21st, 2022. Today's agenda is projects and developments update, marketing updates, collaborations update, and Q&A. Robinson, if you want to get started on projects and development update, please.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So I think the first and foremost is we had a pretty turbulent week, or rather 2 weeks instead of uh, the last 2 weeks was pretty turbulent in terms of the stability of the blockchain. And there's a summary of what is going on in the last 2.5 weeks has been described in the slide. So, especially after the mainnet upgrade, there was a crash or a halt on 30th of 2021, which was restored, and we landed in a spiral of forks after forks, and finally we tried to resolve it, and again we went into a spiral of forks. So yeah, it went on for a while, and right now it seems we have stabilized the system, and we are no more using these components which is causing forks, etc. And for last around 6 days, we have a stable chain running with 11 witnesses, and the current blockchain version, which is 1.5.16, it's running stable. So I guess this is pretty hard learning for us, and going forward, we need to make sure that we have more active witnesses, and when something like this happens, we need to make sure that the witnesses involved are moving away to their own nodes, if at all we are using similar approaches, and make sure that the spiral of issues one after one is not repeating again. So I guess it's an important takeaway, and probably something that we need to make sure that doesn't repeat again in this year and going forward. Okay, let's go to the next slide, Kelly. Okay, so now back to our normal updates, which is we have various projects, which is the Dex UI and certain enhancements on Peerplays JS and the Speak Network related projects happening. So this is the slide. This is about the Dex UI preview releases updates. So we are enhancing some of the missed-out features, including the Hive and SPD screens, and we've also merged a major upgrade regarding the Peerplays JS. So this essentially provides us with a much more stable and secure application. It is not just for the text, but for other applications as well. And there's Hive and SPD deposits. This will give us easy to access screens very similar to the Bitcoin deposit and withdrawal screens. And it will be easy for anybody to do the cross-chain transactions with two supported chains that we have. Okay, let's go to the next slide. These are the overall progress in terms of the burn down and burn up charts. Let's go to the next slide. Further details on the various issues and features being worked on. Let's skip this slide too. Kelly, can you go to the next slide? Okay. This slide has the historical data about our progress. So this slide essentially gives us our progress over the months, and this essentially shows that we are very minimal features actively being worked on the Dex UI, and there are the bugs are also reducing, but we're still continuing to fix and test the same, and we'll be maintaining it as it is as it is until we have the next being released. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So this is about the enhanced decks, or the new decks, which we call as X. So we have moved back three developers and the UX expert back to the project, and we have started the initial screens, and we've started development. The progress has been captured here, and in the upcoming weeks, we'll see more progress, and we'll be able to showcase some sample screens. So the project is on track, and these are the early days of the project. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, blockchain updates. So after the Hive integration, as well as the major bug fixes, uh, no, even though we had a lot of these folks and issues, uh, I'm choosing my words pretty carefully. The chain looks to be stable right now, and we are slowly trying to address various other improvements. We have an issue with the chain file being corrupted when the process crashes. We are looking into that, and we are also bringing in some of the improvements in the related features done in pitches. Plus, we have various smaller issues and enhancements which we are working on. So, in general, the chain looks pretty stable right now, and we are trying to spend as much as time working on improving the code base and enhancing the stability before we start working on any new features. So right now, if there are any suggestions for improvements, or any areas which need additional uh, inspection or attention, that can be brought forward, and we'll be happy to address any of those. So these are the charts. Kelly, let's go to the next slide. Uh, Here is the blockchain historical data. So this also follows the same trend similar to the Dex UI, where due to obvious reasons, we don't have much features and bugs being addressed right now. But in the coming weeks, at least the features and enhancements will keep increasing. So we are also planning to bring some past fixes from BitShares, and probably we also need to look into Hive and other sister chains for any improvements or bug fixes which has brought into them in the last 6 months period or so, and we'll be trying to bring them back, bring them to Peerplays as well, so that the chain is much more stable. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Peerplay, the JS library. So I had briefly described about these changes in while I was talking about Dex UI. So it looks like majority of the vulnerabilities are being addressed. We have 6 more vulnerabilities being left in the dependencies. So we may have to do a little more work to address them. So we're planning to take up that as a Peerplays JS V2. And at this point, we are focusing on the Hive integration and various other aspects. We are also working on the Whale Vault integration, which is a Web3 vault, which can help us to manage the keys better. So once we have that also sorted out, we may come back and try to fix the outstanding vulnerabilities as well. So we have merged and completed this vulnerability fixes. So this is a major this is a massive update which took us and around 3 months, even though it is not reflected anywhere as such. This provides us with a much more stable uh, JS library to work with. And these stable libraries are now used in both Next project and also in the Dex UI. Even though for the Dex UI, we need to do a mainnet release where it will be used. So we'll do that sometime in early next month. Okay, so that's about this slide. That's okay. Regarding the Speak network, we had two sets of features being worked on parallel. One is the claim prop website. And the last piece, which was or the last feature which was pending, was creation of Peerplays blockchain accounts. We have completed that. So this the ClaimDrop website. This is feature complete, except for some instructions which Sean will look into once he's back from his vacations. Let's go to the next slide. This again the charts. We'll skip that. In the this slide, this is about the Hive claim drop. So this is also completed. So we have been verifying the snapshot, the Hive snapshot, to ensure that this includes all the operations which impacts the Hive balance as well as the vested Hive balances. So it looks like we have managed to consider all the operations which affects the balances, and this has been the installation instructions has been shared, and if needed we'll arrange training sessions for the client. So we'll be moving on to further projects, because these two items now stands as feature complete. So we may have to provide some training and support, otherwise they are complete. So let's go to the next slide. So this is some of the new interesting initiatives that we have. So we have started actively working on the Dexport, which is a market maker for Peerplays Dex. So this is based on a popular BitShares based market maker, which was kind of left uh, abandoned for a time. So we're trying to make it work for Peerplays. So this way, what we expect is this will provide the much required liquidity in our various market pairs. So these market pairs are going to be PPY, BTC, and I think PPY Hive as well as PPY SPD. So we have started gathering facts, and in the coming weeks, we'll be able to share more details about the Dexport. And similarly, on the NFT store, this is which is our NFT marketplace, which was based on the Express card. So we have started revamping this as well. So we had completed a demo sometime in 2021 July timeframe, and we had then moved on to other projects. Now we have collaborators who are interested in using the platform. So we are trying to revamp, and at this stage, probably we are looking at providing new look and feel. The functionalities may remain as it is, but we're looking into enhancing the look and feel. So this may include some new UI UX designs, and uh, maybe also a formal testing and bug fixes also needs to be carried out. So in the coming weeks, we'll have more details on these two projects as we formalize and kickstart these with more resources on them. So that's on new initiatives from the development side. Kelly, I think that's all from our end. Is there? Can you go to the next slide? Yeah. So that's all from my end. Uh, Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Bobinson. Michael, do you want to go ahead with marketing updates?
All right, thank you, Kelly. Hello, everybody. Marketing updates for this week and last week, I guess. We've continued our 2022 planning. I've undertaken a look at the staffing and the resources of where we're at, just making sure that we have enough people and utilizing people's strengths. One of our part-time copywriters has now joined us full-time. His name is Vlad. He will be in continuing to do some copywriting, but will also be kind of undertaking more of a social media management role as well. He does create the content already for the Peerplays Instagram in terms of the reels and everything. He's just going to take a bit more of an active role in the strategy and outreach and all of that stuff for Peerplays. We are also doing a content strategy and what we're going to look at going forward for putting content out for Peerplays, how to get our message out, how to be informative and educational as well. So that's all continuing to go, and updates will be announced as that becomes necessary. I've also been facilitating the rollout of the new peerplays.com website. The updates to that will be going. It's been kind of a soft rollout. We got everything set up on the WordPress template now, and the homepage is there, the About Us, the our vision, links to the decks and to our documentation portals on peerplays.tech are there now. So it's a little bit more robust than it has been. There will be ongoing updates. There will be new pages added. There'll be a careers page added. We're going to revamp the document portal, and the imagery is going to change as well to be more focused on our message and how things are actually supposed to be with respect to us being a humanized blockchain. So that is a project that we are undertaking, and the imagery will change. So there will be updates to the website and additions to the website, including forums and a repository of all our articles that we've put out as well. So I'm excited to see that starting to take shape, and I think it'll be very good for us going forward as a hub for information for all things Peerplays. Another thing we've been doing is witness communication and outreach, looking at the execution of that and planning how we're going to do that going forward. We want to facilitate the witnesses as much as possible to be successful in what they're trying to do. They are the lifeblood of what it is that we do, and without them, the chain doesn't work. So we want to make sure that we are there. We're trying to work with the witnesses as much as possible to facilitate the conversation and create more of a community feel amongst them and a collaborative approach amongst them to solve problems with respect to when the chain halts and the forks were happening, that they all work together. Hiltos, one of the witnesses, spearheaded the last resync, and since then we've been pretty stable, so that's been good. Another project that we've been working on for some time is the brand images and voice and content project to standardize all that, get our imagery all aligned so that when people look at it, they know that it's Peerplays, they know what Peerplays stands for. We've now morphed that into a little bit of video animation graphics as well, which looked really cool from what I saw, and we'll start to see some of that coming out hopefully in the next few weeks as we continue to refine what it is that we're going to be doing going forward. And finally, we've been collaborating with the dev team on revised and more robust systems documentation, just to make sure that the information that we have is 100% up to date and 100% accurate and easy to follow. That's the marketing updates from my side. I will pass it over to Sala now for the performance.
Thank you, Michael. So in terms of performance this week, there is a bit of down on across social media. However, with the new creative ideas and Vlad joining us on full time, we'll be working on new content structure and going aggressively more on the social media so we can have more growth across all social media. And for the next slide, please. And for last week, we have sent email about witnesses program. So we invited our email list to join Peerplays as a witness in order to strengthen the witness program mainnet and have more witnesses. And the clicks and the performance and the stats of the email was really good in terms of number of clicks and open rates. And moving forward, we'll be working on a specific campaign in order to across all platforms and channels in order to attract more witnesses and get the mainnet and our witness program to the next level. So that's from the side of the performance. To you, Kelly.
Thank you very much, Sala and Michael. Jonathan, do you want to start us off with the collaborations update, please?
Sure thing. So for the past couple of weeks, there's been ongoing discussions, again, with the same collaborators I spoke of in our last update. So with Parlay and with the gaming, there's the Parlay NFTs for Casino 3.0. We've had 3 calls in the last few weeks, not just about the NFT game per se, but we've also talked about technical details in relation to the launch of a poker type of game. And there was a lot of back and forth in regards to whether or not to use Peerplays versus using Ethereum or BSC or something like that in these projects. And basically when it came down to was that with Peerplays and what we're able to do with Express NFT, we have a good opportunity for them to have a solid foundation to be able to launch these games. So that's looking really good. And we continue to have weekly discussions with them on these projects as they move closer to getting launched. So it's good stuff. In terms of gaming with the Gaming Benefits Corporation, that's a charitable gaming operation. We've had 2 calls in the last few weeks, and we've finalized our collaboration with them as of today. They are basically utilizing applications which they have licensed through another company in an exclusive deal, and with that, they're going to be doing a regulated game type of an approach to the marketplace. So their primary marketplace is the U.S. They have relations with the Veterans Affairs offices across the country, and that's primarily where the charitable aspect comes in. And so with this collaboration, Peerplays would be essentially the chain that's behind all these applications in order to facilitate that entire network. So we're quite excited to be working with them, and they're excited to be working with Peerplays. And this will really help in terms of increasing the usage of the chain and its utility. So those are the 2 primary collaborations we've had in the past few weeks. Other collaborators, we haven't gone forward with. There hasn't been any further updates on those just in the last few weeks, but that doesn't mean that they're not happening. And that's it for collaborations.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Okay, we'll go on to questions, comments, and thoughts. Is there any questions from anybody?
I have a question.
Yes, Henry, go ahead.
All right. So recent collaboration with potential customers or partners in gaming industry. Does it indicate that we are shifting our focus towards gaming and gambling? That's my question.
So I'll answer that question. The answer to that is no. We're not shifting our focus. Essentially, we are focusing primarily on making Peerplays human friendly, right? As we're developing Peerplays, it's moving towards a more humanomic type of an approach. We want to make it so that it's easy. It's not just easy for people to understand, but it makes a natural connection with people. And with that approach, the reason why we're gaining this attention now is because we're taking that strategy. It's actually attracting these collaborators from other industries, not just gaming, but real estate, finance, Internet of Things, as I've spoken of in the past. These are just the two collaborators that just I've had communications with recently. But it doesn't mean that we're changing our focus. What it means is that just happens to be what some collaborators want to use Peerplays for today. It doesn't mean that Peerplays is limited to only being used for gaming. So we are still focused in the way that we approach the market, because that's what the market needs. That's what the market demands in order to be able to reach larger masses and not just be something that's focused in the crypto space only.
Okay, thank you so much for your answer.
Thank you. Anybody else? I have two here on my end if nobody else is going to. Okay, this one's for the marketing team. What is our plans to increase reach and engagement?
I'll take that one. So with the new peerplays.com website rolling out, and as it evolves, obviously that will help. We'll be able to point to it. It will include forums. It will include discussion pages. That will obviously help. We are also undertaking a project right now, and with Vlad coming in to kind of help with that, we're going to be identifying our goals specifically for social media about how we're going to extend our reach and engagement. So the first step of that is identifying the goals, what we want to achieve from the social media. Then the next step will be, how do we achieve those goals? What kind of content will achieve those goals? We are taking this step-by-step process, and then from there we'll be creating content around that to drive those goals. We'll have them as key performance indicators, which will be tied to our engagement and to our reach. And I'm confident that we have the team in place to be able to create content that is going to drive that engagement, to create the educational aspects of things that we want to do, to teach people, to show people what Peerplays is capable of, but also what blockchain is capable of. And I really think as time goes on and we start to really follow this roadmap that we are going to create with respect to our content that's going to be coming out for 2022, that the reach and engagement will increase significantly.
Thank you. And final question, this one, I think it's Jonathan. Jonathan, what is the plan for adding value to PPY, both in dollar value and utility?
So value in PPY, as the network grows, will be very interesting, to say the least. With the short amount of time that we have, here, I'd just like to say that the fundamentals of PPY in terms of value are moving towards being determined by network security. So what that means is that as Peerplays continues to have more utility in the utilization of Bitcoin and Hive, Speak, and in the near future, Ethereum, other assets available from the Ethereum blockchain as well, the value of PPY will grow in dollar value, which was part of the question. The approach to the market planned has to do primarily with community building. Gaming is among the collaborations, and hybrid application integration, which exists in the open source tools via with an ongoing contest for $1.2 million of Bitcoin up for grabs annually. We've talked about this ongoing. There's discussions going on in the outreach channel in Rocket Chat. And some of those plans are certainly had certain technical requirements that only recently have been implemented, while others depend on future developments. That includes updating the core. So right now, the way PPY works in Peerplays has conflicting tokenomics when you look at what the expectations of PPY users today have versus the way the network works. So there's only about 5.5 million PPY in circulation, and we have a maximum supply of 14.4 million. So I believe as Peerplays evolves, there needs to be a greater alignment with the humanomics in Peerplays. So a good example is the current DEX, which we just had start. So the current structure has PPY fees when trading happens in the DEX go back to the chain reserve. And from there, it goes nowhere. A more humanomic approach would be to have people who participate in the trading have that value somehow flow towards helping secure the network. So in this case, if we were to do something to address that, we might look at something like, if you participate in GPost, for example, then all the trading that happens in Peerplays, you would receive participation rewards for contributing to the security of the network. So that's just one example where right now, the way that the core of Peerplays works with its tokenomics don't quite align with helping the dollar value or the utility. So that's something that we're focused on in terms of what we do as we go forward. And as we see these things play out, you're going to see a big change in terms of the way the value of PPY is calculated, both in its utility and in its dollar value. So that's the answer.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no more questions, this will end our weekly town hall meeting for January 21st, 2022. Thank you everybody so much, and we will see you next week.